So what's in our control to change when it comes to our cold calling? Number one, think to yourself and look at your calendar. Are you calling at the right times? And calling, my goodness, I cannot preach how important it is to call at the proper times. Research shows that calling prospects between the hours of 8 a.m. until 10 a.m., their time is probably going to be when you get a hold of them the best. And I can't tell you how many times I've had reps that start their calling at 10 a.m., 11, 2. And sure, you might get a hold of the occasional person. Heck, there's some days where I've got my phone on me and I'll pick up just because I'm in the middle of an admin task. So it's not to say that it's impossible, right? But looking at it from a macro perspective, if you have a 5 to 7% answer rate during these peak calling times between 8 until 10 a.m. or from 2:30 until 4 p.m., maximize, and you're gonna have to do less work to get better results. Hello, isn't that what we all want, is to have to not do as much work because we're working smarter, not harder? So that being said, audit, are you calling people at the right times? Bri, why is it 8 a.m. or right before people leave off to work that are the prime times to get a hold of people? That's an excellent question. Think about it from a position of an executive, a decision maker at the company that you're trying to call into. Smack in the middle of their day, they're in back-to-back meetings. So that being said, you want to try to call them before they dive into that first 9 a.m. meeting or towards the tail end of their day when all their meetings are pretty much wrapped up and they're just taking care of admin projects. So call people at the right times, audit your calendar and see, am I calling people at the right times? Next thing that's in your control to change, leaving voicemails. I don't know what it is about representatives, but they hate leaving voicemails sometimes. And they worry that they are going to annoy their prospects by leaving too many voicemails. Sure, there's a lot of factors. Are you leaving really long value prop voicemails? Then yeah, you're probably not gonna get the best traction. But if the voicemail is simply just pointing them in the direction of a previous touch point, then that might be actually a really good idea, is to say, hey, maybe calling isn't your preferred method of communication. Check out that email, the subject line being Bri Dan intro, and check out what I have to say. Boom. And so pointing people to the right direction via voicemails is always something that you can easily control within your call blitzes. Maybe you have a tendency to talk to a ton of people. Maybe last week you spoke to 15 or 20 people during your call blitzes combined throughout the entire week. And so you're talking to a lot of people, but you're just not converting it over into meetings. So when was the last time that you listened back to a lot of the calls that you're having? When was the last time you and your manager had a sitting where you guys just listened to every single live conversation that you had, good, bad, and ugly, and just said, hey, manager, I really need you to give me some feedback on how I can maximize the effectiveness of these calls, and just being willing and open for feedback. And the last tip here that I love to initiate and prescribe, let's say I'm calling from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. I will track by the end of that call blitz. Sometimes I do it via analog style in a notebook, and I'll just keep track via tally marks how many total calls that I did. Just for literally for that call blitz, I'll just do that. And so tally marks, boom, call. Even if it goes straight to voicemail, I made a call, right? So how many calls, how many people picked up, and then how many meetings did that give me? And so if you maybe did 25 total calls, maybe you spoke to 5 people, and maybe you booked 1 meeting, not bad, 20% there. But keep in mind, tracking things, maybe you might see 25 calls, spoke to 10 people, really high answer rate on that one, but booked 0 meetings. You might think, oh my gosh, let me listen back to those calls that I did have conversations with people and actually write out all the different objections that I got stumped on and I couldn't handle. And maybe during your next one-on-one with your manager, you can review some of the rebuttals that you've got memorized for those objections. So that way, next time that you experience that same objection, you won't get stumped on it and you can handle it real confidently. So let's talk about emails. What is in our control to change when it comes to us sending out emails? You might think, Bri, I've got the best emails. Well, first off, what I would encourage you to do is looking into your sales engagement platform that you're using or your CRM. Check out from the last month that you've sent out emails, what's your open, what's your click-through rate, and what's your reply rate. So what are your baselines? Do a quick audit check there. You might think, oh, I've got the best emails. Well, do you? Do you? What do your open rates say? Because you might not have the best emails, newsflash, but maybe you do, which if that's the case, phenomenal. Keep going with whatever you're using, whatever cadence you're using, whatever templates you're using, whatever resources you're clicking into and putting into your emails, phenomenal. Keep that going. But if emails might be a sore area within your outreach, perhaps do some things that can enhance that. I actually have a video that I put together regarding best practices for emails that I would encourage you to check out. But check into that first when you're reflecting upon all your metrics on areas that you can essentially change for this upcoming week, which is your comeback week. One of my favorite touch points to talk about is your LinkedIn strategy. Some people, some reps have an incredible LinkedIn strategy. Others, it's non-existent and they're only relying on cold calling or emails. So let me submit for your consideration an area that could truly be very, very fruitful when it comes to your prospecting, one being LinkedIn. And this is of course assuming that you're currently at a company that uses predominantly LinkedIn for prospecting strategies. Tip number one that I highly encourage you to do if you're not already is to connect with every single prospect that you currently have in a sequence. Why? It's good to expand your network, right? But most importantly, connect with other people within those decision makers' orgs, so that way once they go through to try to check out your profile, once you sent out that connection request, they can see that you're already connected with a lot of people from their team. It does have a tendency to increase the rate of them actually accepting your connection request. Also, do not send out a message pitching a meeting in the connection request like message. Please don't do that. That's going to lower the ability to get them to want to connect back with you. But some things that you can add to your outreach if you're not doing them yet: voice notes, which is essentially a voice memo for people that have connected back with you, and also personalized videos. Oh my gosh, so underutilized when it comes to a social strategy. I love having my reps send out personalized videos to their decision makers. And again, keeping it very casual, but it puts a face to those emails that you might be sending or voicemails that you might be leaving. Really creative touch point. And then lastly, let's talk about prospecting. So this is also an essential part to your BDR strategy for the week to help you get back on track to pacing towards hitting your quota. So I would audit the accounts that you're prospecting. I would audit the people that you're throwing into cadence or sequence for your outreach. Maybe your product or your service isn't a good fit for a lot of these companies that you're chasing after. So you might want to audit how many total accounts you've got currently actively in sequence and how many people you have currently in sequence. Maybe it's as simple as you don't have enough touch points that you're doing on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, and that's causing you to not be pacing towards your quota. So it might be as simple, hey, instead of only hitting 150 calls and 150 emails per week, maybe it's ramping it up by 2x and slamming out 300 calls and 300 emails. But again, to the right people, to the right accounts. So if that's the case, I would audit how many people you currently have in cadence, because that might be an easy fix and an easy solution to help you get back on track this week. I hope that a lot of the tips that I've gone through in today's video help you craft the perfect game plan, the perfect comeback game plan for your week to help you pace towards your quota again. And I'm willing to bet that, and again, I've done this for many years now, I'm willing to bet there's a couple things that you haven't really been doing because you've been doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. So again, put together a phenomenal plan for you and your manager's next one-on-one that surprises the heck out of them. I want your manager to walk into that next one-on-one and then be like, oh my gosh, who is this person? This rep that has been underperforming and really in their heads and really stressed out. This person is coming in with a different mindset, a different sense of attitude, a different, overall demeanor to them. I want that to be your next one-on-one with them because that's really going to impact how they view you for that week. And regarding like a way for them to hold you accountable, have a section in there where they can feel like they're helping you get back on track also. That's actually personally one of my favorite things that reps ask of me is more time with me. They're like, hey Bri, I know you're busy, but can we throw an extra one-on-one at the end of the week just so that way we can review a lot of these action items that I've gone through during today's one-on-one. Oh my gosh, of course, every manager will move things around for you, no matter how freaking slammed their schedule is, because you are their priority. So do yourself a favor, figure out what you need to be held accountable to this plan that you've put together for this week, for this month, and then have a secondary touch point. It could be a simple 5-minute or 15-minute check-in at the end of the week just to review this. But again, having that really nice feedback loop of this is what I did, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, this is what I plan on adjusting. That feedback loop, especially if you're not doing well, is something that if you're proactive about telling your manager that you want to do this with them, looks great. And it also helps out your manager when they're reporting up to leadership. Hey, this rep really impressed me and this is what they did differently that they haven't been doing before. That's what we want, ladies and gents. If you found this video valuable, go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, do all the things. I will catch you next time.